Hi guys, and today's movie that you don't hate. Aliens vs. Predator
Requiem.
Yes, the second of the AVP sequels that did not earn a third.
Very true.
Oh man. Okay, so in this film franchise, they started off something really, really good and then got a little bit off track with Requiem. It doesn't mean that you should really hate this film. It just means that they got off track.
Well, when you first of all of this started similar to Freddy vs. Jason started, but this all started with the ending of Predator 2,
Right.
with the alien skull inside the Predator ship. After that, comics were brought out, and then finally, after being in development hell for so long, AVP finally showed up.
This was the age of doing crossover films. I mean, we got RoboCop versus. Well, we didn't get RoboCop versus.
I wish we would have gotten RoboCop versus Terminator.
Like the comic books, like really went off the rails with this. It was like they were doing RoboCop versus Terminator. They were doing Alien versus Predator. They were doing Freddy versus. What didn't they do? Freddy versus.
No, you're right. They did. Freddy versus Jason versus Ash.
Yeah. Okay. So
Stuff like that.
they had done all these crossover ones. So like people were eating that stuff up. They were like, okay, as long as we can get the rights, we can do these films. So we got two of them. We ain't got that RoboCop versus Terminator yet. Arnold, you're never too old, especially with the Marvel CGI.
Peter Weller.
Yeah, you CGI you guys and make you look like you were 20 again.
So now here comes Requiem, and this was their chance to actually kind of have a mulligan when it came to the franchise. So if you guys have not seen You Don't Hate, we're going to break down the movie in 5 different categories. Right. It's going to be from plot, acting, directing, special effects / makeups, and characters. We're going to tally up the scores and prove at the end of the day that you don't hate Alien vs. Predator Requiem.
You don't hate Requiem. You strongly dislike it, but you don't hate it.
That's how I felt about Green Lantern.
There you go.
Terrence, give us the scoreboard now and give us the plot of AVPR.
All right, so here's this convoluted plot. At the end of AVP, you got to see, and I guess this is one of those where we got close to what we now call, a post-credit scene, where we got to see the I'm gonna say Xenobite, Xenomorph burst through the Predator's chest, and it was like, okay, Scream sequel. So we start off directly there where it comes through. Basically, it brings forth the Predalien.
It took some characteristics of the Predator.
From the Predator and the Xenomorphs, and basically we got to understand at that point that the Xenomorphs can basically use anybody as a host, and then morph into any type of hybrid or whatever host they took on. And so ones we really know for Xenomorphs are basically the human hybrids versus what we got with the Predators. So the ones with the Predators ended up being bigger, ended up being stronger and more vicious. So that one got loose and ended up making the ship that it was on crash land back on Earth. Like they just got off Earth and they go right back to Earth. Like we had coming and then grand closing. So they got back to Earth and then now this Predator. I mean, they just left.
They were in Antarctica.
They just left. They're right. It's like, but anyway, so he's back with the Predaliens on Earth and just causing terror. That's basically the plot. Or well, hold on a second. They're causing terror, and then
they send a distress signal.
I'm trying to think of the name. How do you pronounce it? The Yautja. That's what the Predators are called. The Yautja send out another hunter to now take out this Predalien that's on Earth. So that's more or less what the plot of this film is. I mean, you deal with some of the human interactions and how they're dealing with dealing with all the missing people that go on from the Predalien killing them and everything that's surrounding these two meeting up. So,
and right before that happens, they call out the wolf. The cleaner,
Why does he have a name? What do they know about wolves? They don't know what a wolf is.
Fun fact, real quick, based off of Harvey Keitel's wolf character from Pulp Fiction, they call the wolf the cleaner to come in and clean up the mess.
I can see the Samuel Jackson Predator going home.
Like that's all you had to say.
You had to say, baby.
So yeah, they get the water hose on the dirty predators, and they're all. Strip. You've both been in the joint. All right. Anyway, so he comes in and pretty much I don't know if he is part of to keep the society secret So he has to go and clean it up and dissolve all evidence of the whole thing. So that's, he's cleaning up, but then at the same time he's trying to get rid of these creatures because now they're multiplying because they had face huggers on board. So those face huggers got out. And boom, they go into...
Xenomorphs will run loose just like we have always done before. It's like we don't want them to run loose because then we lose control of the planet and everybody will be a damn alien. But what I did like about... Well, we're still on plot, right? So how did you feel about the plot?
I thought it was... for what it is, and to actually have the Xenomorphs in a more open area and not so secluded as far as a base, a ship, or anything like that, to actually be out in the open... I thought that whole premise was really more terrifying, actually, because now there's no limits. Kids, babies, pregnant women, there's no holds barred on it. So, and him going and the predator, the wolf going after them and getting them one by one and all that, which he's experienced because he killed pretty much all the freaking aliens. But as far as the plot's concerned, I gave it a like.
Okay, so as far as the plot's concerned, because what he just discussed right now, we'll talk about it in directing because I had some problems with that. But
yes, I will think.
The plot, it was fine. Like I said, they had already set it up with AVP, so we were already expecting that to be the thing, and you like to see the hybrid from the alien to know that they were what we thought we were going to get, where it was going to see them on their planet and see it deal with that. But I'm cool with it going back to Earth because it would have cost more money to do it on the Predator planet. So I'm cool with what they did, and having another Predator come down to hunt that and actually making that the focus as opposed to just being slaughter human, which they did anyway. Slaughter human, slaughter human, slaughter human, kill the Predator at the end. Having a Predator come out. So I was very cool with the plot. I like the plot.
All right, so Light gets the point.
Light gets the point.
There it is. And starting out pretty good. 1-0.
Yeah, I know. Who would have thought?
All right, next up is the acting. Now, virtually all unknowns. With the exception of
Predator. Predator's the only one we knew in this movie.
With the exception of John Ortiz from the State Farm commercials.
You serious?
Yes.
John was the only one we knew in this movie.
John Ortiz, a veteran actor from State Farm commercials, but also from American Gangster, and most recently from Peppermint. So he's probably the most recognizable actor in this whole thing.
They were like, you know what? We got to get for this film. We're gonna get John Ortiz.
That's right.
You know that dude's gonna sell some.
Stephen Pasquale, who's a TV actor who appeared in The Good Wife, Rescue Me. Reiko Aylesworth, who's appeared in Hawaii Five-0 and Scorpion.
Oh, that horrible remake.
And Johnny Lewis from Sons of Anarchy, who played Kip Halfsack from Sons of Anarchy.
I don't know. I'm sorry, I wasn't a big Sons of Anarchy fan.
So back then, obviously, this is all before those series and all that took place, with the exception of John Ortiz, who had acted in other things.
Before they blew up and started doing those State Farm commercials.
Before those State Farm commercials went off with Chris Paul, they were all virtually unknowns.
Okay.
For the fact that they were virtually unknowns, given the premise, given what they have to work with.
So they weren't great. They weren't great actors to begin with. What they had to work with, do we give them a pass?
I'm gonna give them a pass. I'm gonna give them a like for the acting. Not that bad as a first time goer.
For the acting, I was okay with the acting. I have problems with them in general, but we'll get to that in characters. But for the acting, I mean, it's not like you had Oscar award winners here.
Well, how many Oscar nominees do you have in the Alien and Predator franchise?
Sigourney?
Is Sigourney ever been nominated for anything?
I would assume.
I don't think so.
Oh. None. Who else? None. Now, Sigourney would be my guess, but okay, none.
Bill Paxton?
Fine. I would... Well, yeah, Bill Paxton.
Maybe.
He's got
like Emmys and Golden Globes and stuff like that. I think maybe Sigourney got those too.
I was thinking about like from Big Love and stuff like that.
Yeah, but either way, I mean, you don't, in the entire franchise, you don't really have that much of, like.
So because the bar was set so low.
Wait a minute. Adrian Brody, Oscar winner, and Lawrence Fishburne, Oscar winner, or Oscar nominee for Predators. So in a way,
that was after this movie, sir.
And Danny Trejo, Art's favorite.
The bar was set so low. I mean, I'm gonna give him a pass on that.
I'm gonna give him a pass.
It was enough. They further along the story. I'm okay with it. So that's 2-0.
So 2-0. We give that one a like. There it is. 2-0. Directors. Now this movie was directed by the Brothers Strauss.
Okay.
Now the Brothers Strauss, they worked on special effects on movies like Titanic, The Day After Tomorrow, 300, but they did film effects for these movies.
Okay.
So working on special effects for this movie, understandable.
So they are the Zack Snyder of the Predator series.
Pretty much. Directing standpoint, I don't know. I really don't. During the film break, since they were really good with effects, I think they focused more on that than they did the directing.
Well, because that's what they knew.
Right, that's what they knew, and that kind of experience hindered the project, in my opinion. The film was shot. The cinematography on that was too damn dark. It was.
You couldn't have stills to put up in the background, and all the stills were like super dark.
Yeah,
and I think that maybe there was to hide some of the special effects because with suits and things like that, it was like you don't want it to look too fake, so you hide it in the dark. So I get that, but we'll get that into special effects and action sequences later. But as far as the directing go, I had a problem with the focus of this movie. Even though like I said, it became undertones of the Predator and Alien, and more along the lines of like, how do we deal with all these people missing and being murdered and stuff like that. And they weren't really they weren't dealing with it. It was just like, oh, there's a predator behind the scene, and then this Predalien was killing people. I didn't like that to be the focus of the movie. I wanted to focus, like, AVP was the focus of like, this is a predator out to kill these aliens. That was the focus of this movie. This movie was not. It was like searching until we get to the end. We have our big fight scene to deal with it.
Don't you think it was the focus on the movie was more like damage control from a Predator standpoint?
I guess, but I don't want a damage control movie. I want a damage everything movie.
But I think that's what it gave you. I mean, the kill scenes were brutal in this movie.
Yeah, but we're not on kill scenes.
Okay, we're not gonna get to that. Okay, you're right. Let's just stick to direct. All right, so
I didn't like the focus of this movie. I wanted the focus to be more on them, and it seemed like I was focused on all these relationships that these human characters were having, and then they were murdered. And that's
so the original Predator. You invested
they did better.
But it was the exact same thing. You invested in those characters.
But the plot of this film was that I have a hunter coming to kill this Predalien. The first one, it was like, there is a hunter here to kill humans. That was the focus of it, was to kill this. Like, the focus of this was, you are here to stop that. I would have liked it better if there had been more interactions throughout the thing where, like, they just fought. Like, we got more fighting in
the daytime.
Yeah. In the daytime, we got more fighting, and AVP was a dark movie too. It was inside a temple.
But it was, but you could see the lighting in that was a lot better though.
Like I said, I didn't like the directing because I thought the focus should have been shifted more towards them.
And for me, it was more that I thought that their expertise in special effects did not transition well as far as from a directing standpoint. There were some parts that they paid homage to the films of the past, and that's fine. But overall, the way it was shot and the images and how they came out, yeah, I agree with you.
So there's no pass on this. We didn't like the way you shot it. We didn't like the way.
Yeah, the directing was that. Yeah. And okay, let me ask you this: do you think that it didn't do as many practical effects as the previous movies did? Or do you think that it relied too much on CGI?
Well, I mean, this is kind of like CGI was really starting to get the steam going. It was like, this is where we really needed to take place. This is more special effects thing, but I kind of like what they did with the CGI.
Okay. So
what the director did with CGI, I think you used it well.
Got 2-0 right now.
2-0. And
we're gonna give it to hate. We're gonna give it to hate. 2-1.
2-1. All right.
Too good to be true.
That's fine. We're still good here. We're still up.
All right, the next one is the special effects.
See, I'm big on this.
Special effects wise, this was, I don't believe that they were involved in the special effects. Obviously, they directed the special effects and they were involved to that capacity, but responsible for the effects themselves, no. But a lot of the effects that were used, like you said, they had some pretty good CGI. They had great kill scenes, I thought, and the way they executed the kill scenes, especially in the unrated version.
For a PG-13,
this was rated R. This one was rated R. This one was rated R.
I'm about to say, this movie was pretty bloody for a PG-13 movie.
Yeah, but the special effects on all of those kill scenes and all of that stuff, the props, the weapons, all of that stuff,
right,
on the money. I thought it was great.
I like the shift, the cloaking that he did. I think, like I said, from thinking about what we had already gotten beforehand in Predator 1, Predator 2, and AVP, I think this one did the best with the effects for me of the Predator, the way the Predator looked. Even the hybrid Predalien, even though it was covered in dark most of the time.
What did you think of that concept?
I mean, it was interesting. Like I said, to me, it enlightened me to what it was that now we know xenomorphs can hybrid anything. Yeah. I was fine with the concept. I was okay with it, and like when we saw it burst out, it was like made you think. So seeing it realized on screen, I got it. And what else were they gonna do?
Well, the first of all, the Predalien
the mask on the long xenomorph head, the some dreads on it.
The Predalien was kind of like an evolved queen, so they changed up the antagonist from a standpoint of it wasn't the usual big, huge queen alien. So they kind of changed it up a little bit.
I mean, it was still big.
It was real big. It was still a queen. No. It was able to impregnate. Instead of face huggers, it had the ability of a face hugger to impregnate, with the
was them playing with
the embryos and all that stuff.
With the mythology of the series and stuff like that. So doing something different. So I was okay with that particular part.
But the concept of the Predalien itself, the xenomorphs and how they the way they were designed, I thought all that was great.
Right.
Yeah, I thought it stuck to the basics when it came to what the aliens are and were and all that. The movements, the CGI was good on a lot of the fast movements. Camera work on that was
give us
good.
More light.
Just give us some more light, damn it. You know what? I was looking forward to the infrared.
Yes. Yes. I can probably see in the dark. What's going on?
Yeah, the infrared was the freaking best thing about it. So overall, what do you got?
I mean, I like the special effects.
All right, it gets a like 3-1.
3-1. Look at that. We are like over the hill already.
Not bad, not bad. And here's what goes wrong. Characters.
Who cared about them?
Who cared about them? You got these guys with troubled pasts. You got these, your usuals, that are the heroes and delinquents and convicts and but they're the heroes.
Right.
You got your usual military.
Yeah, it's like you gotta have the military in it. You gotta have some people to be served up as fodder. You gotta have some people that it was like you have some type of emotional connection to, like you want to see them live, and they touched on all those, but I didn't care because I didn't want to see any of that.
You know what I did care about though were the babies.
Oh, because everybody can get killed.
The babies and the pregnant women. That did make me kind of like, no.
We see one of the things too.
Because it was so ugly. I mean, just to have that thing impregnate the pregnant girls, and those eggs were eating the fetus on the inside. So that's when they burst out of the stomach, and you had like 4 or 5 of them. It was really brutal.
Yeah.
But obviously, there's no development there. Right. But the ones that they, like you said, the ones that you're really focused on.
Really care.
Yeah, you go. Like, you deliver pizzas.
It really at the point I was like, when are you gonna die? When are you gonna die?
Oh no, how are you gonna die?
How are you gonna die? And that's it's like I really didn't care for the characters. I really wanted to care more about this hunter. Give me more. Made me feel for this hunter. Maybe it was like maybe he's gonna have a heartfelt conversation with his family before he leaves to go on his one last mission.
Well, he's still mad that Austrian guy killed his brother.
Yeah. Exactly, right? So, I mean, that's what I wanted to care about. I didn't really care about the humans, and they were the majority and the big focus of the movie until we got towards the end. So, I mean, they could have done more. They could have done more here, and they could have done less there.
One of our viewers, Matt, guy named Matt, he brought up the ending where you didn't have to really show the blaster going into Yutani's hands.
Right.
You could have just cut it there at the end of the movie when the aftermath has happened, and then end credit right there.
Yeah.
You didn't necessarily have to continue and try to add on more stories.
They were trying to set up,
but it was too much. You didn't need it, and I agree with Matt on that. They didn't need it. It was pointless, but. Like you said, characters all together. Even Yutani didn't matter.
They gotta make sure that we can get 3, which we didn't get.
So gets a hate. So 3-2.
All right. Yeah, 3-2. I mean
3-2.
Well, luckily in this particular one's favor, a lot of the good things we got to say up front. The bad things we got to say at the end. So it didn't have to come down to the wire. We kind of knew that this was going to be one that we were actually gonna really likes kind of a subjective thing that we did like and that you don't really hate. Overall with this movie, I thought that it should have gotten a 3rd film.
Just to complete the
Yeah,
trilogy.
just complete the trilogy. I don't think that this film did enough damage to to the AVP franchise to say that it didn't warrant a third film. Maybe box office wise, it didn't make enough money, but I think that there's some other films that didn't make as much money in the box office that still got finished their trilogy. I think this one should have got it.
So it needed its Revenge of the Sith.
It did.
Yes, it did. All right.
Probably would have saved this franchise.
All right, so some other things on this movie. It did present elements of both Aliens films. The brutal kills from Aliens, the tribal beats. The tribal beats that show when the Predator was on screen or about to be on screen. Those tribal beats were the same as they were in part one. So hearing that go with this, that was a great touch. I love that. It had some, like I said, it had some really solid kill scenes. And with this particular one, because the town's involved here, the tagline that they had for the first one that had "whoever wins, we lose" was more relevant in this movie compared to that, because that was a isolated Antarctica setting where this was a complete town. And that, I think it makes...
That tagline doesn't make any sense, because even in the backstory to it, they were only there for a purpose and they were going to leave. So...
But I think
Predator wins,
but he
cleans up the planet and leaves.
But he was killing people anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
and he was hanging people upside down, skinning them alive. He was still doing all those things. It didn't matter. You were gonna get killed by one or the other. Both the Predators and the Aliens, they both killed humans, as opposed to the Alien for the first AVP, where aliens did not kill humans.
Yeah, they were only just being hunted by the Predator.
Yeah, so this one they actually kill humans, and boy, do they kill humans a lot.
One thing that I don't know if you have it on your list or not, but in the background, especially when they're in the ship, you see the space jockey helmet, where they tied in the engineers.
The engineers on it, that's right.
So that's where I was looking up.
You always gotta look at those trophy walls.
Yeah, right. I was kind of looking up, and I was like, how do they do the Covenant and what was the first one? Prometheus and Covenant. How does it tie into this? Because the way that the original film was set up, it was like, okay, we've been here since Mayan time, but then the xenomorphs weren't introduced until Prometheus, and in their actual final form into Covenant, which is well into the future. So how do they not know about xenomorphs, but then introduce them to
Ridley Scott has stated that the AVP films are not canon.
I don't like that. I like the fact
I don't like it either,
because there was a story that was out there and some theories where they were saying that the Yautja actually ran cross paths with the engineers.
I agree. I believe that
they fought with them. One, they said they hunted the engineers because they were a better adversary.
They were supreme.
Yeah, because they were strong, they were bigger, and something like that. They were a better adversary. So during their battles, they stole the xenomorphs, and then that's how they introduced them. They ran into them long ago. Around the time that they first put man here on Earth, had their battle, stole the xenomorphs, introduced them to the Mayans, bred the hybrids between humans there, hunted them there, wiped them out, left, and came back, just hunted humans, didn't do xenomorphs anymore, and then we didn't come across them until we found them again in the future.
And what he also says is that it is in a different side of the universe, or a different universe, much like Force Unleashed is not part of Star Wars canon. So similar to that, it might be in the same universe, but it's not taking place in this particular timeline. The babies and the pregnant woman, I talked about it earlier, those kills were hard to watch, but it highlighted how primal the xenomorphs were, and nothing was off limits.
And took away the code and that was one of the things that I had a problem with this movie, was the fact that it went from xenomorph to Predalien to hunting, like right off the bat. And I know it was also trying to breed and stuff like that, but just like...
Well, yeah, I mean, they crash landed, and they're adapting to their surroundings.
I thought it was a little bit too fast in the whole thing, and I was like... And then I know xenomorphs were basically vicious the minute that they were, become...
Maybe that's
a little bit too fast.
Maybe the story development, they were looking at it more than the character development, and, they focused on that. But you mentioned about money. Fun facts on this, the budget was $40 million. It only grossed $129, but it grossed $27 million in DVD sales, Blu-ray sales.
I mean, that's
not bad.
That's 3 times what it cost them to make this movie, and they said
even if you were to double that,
studio gets 2/3 and the theater gets 1/3, so it's like that would still be profitable.
Even if you double the $40 million for marketing, that's still a decent profit. I mean, overall, so it's not too bad. The Rotten Tomato score on it is 11%.
11%. Who were you 11% that stood up for this movie? I want to know. Not that I like.
Well, we're defending it, so I guess
you 89% that crapped on this movie. I just want to know the stand-up people that was like they believe in this franchise. Come on, talk to me. Get on the comments.
It was nominated for 2 Razzie Awards for Worst Excuse for a Horror Movie and Worst Prequel/Sequel. The video game based on the movie was also panned.
I've seen clips of the video game. The video game
was not very good. No.
It's not good.
The Colonial Marines was better than the other one. Now here's the thing here's where I think this movie really faulted, and that is that it was released on Christmas Day.
It's not a good time for this movie. This movie is
absolutely not. There is no way that this movie.
To get that Christmas money, sir.
I know, and even then, it didn't do anything. So
if you want to make it an end of summer movie, make it a Halloween.
Maybe a Halloween movie. I think that's fair. A September movie, much like this past one, which this past one didn't do anything either. Yeah. But the fall.
Don't release this movie to DVD because DVD. Literally, this is movie to video. Sorry, I'm dating myself.
We're gonna do. You don't hate the Predator.
You don't hate the Predator.
But either way, as for Requiem, given all that, you really don't hate this movie.
No, you don't hate this movie.
Yeah. So Terrence, take us home.
All right. So another you don't hate. Please make sure you give us some suggestions because we bounce back and forth movies that we don't hate, and we kind of want to know if there's anybody out there that believes like we do that you really don't hate this film. So if there's other movies that are unjustly kind of just down and panned and stuff like that, let us know. Put it in the comments below, and we'll do one of those in a future episode.
Absolutely.
If this is the first time you're on the channel, make sure you like and comment, like I said, and subscribe so that way you know about all the other things that we do that actually include some good movies. Make sure you hit the notification bell as well so that way you know when they come out.
All right. For Art, wherever the hell he's at, and that's on the couch doing nothing, I'm Manny.
I'm Terrence.
And we'll see you next time.
There you go. I got a trophy, goddamn it.
All of my creative projects.
Oh my gosh.
Look. Shit. If there's any hot women out there right now that say they want to show a husband, come get me. Come get me. I'll just work out. When you come home, you be like, damn, dude.
Well, he's more like the participation prize, but